Hey guys, this is Adam from FabLab and today we're going to be doing a basic tutorial on the Brother PR600, a perfect embroidery machine for small-scale customizations. If you want the full explanation of the whole machine, check out the link in the description for the PDF document of this manual. This is a 6-needle machine with a module for cap and 4 different frame sizes. 60 by 40 millimeters, 100 by 100 millimeters, 130 by 180 millimeters, and 300 by 200 millimeters. And today we'll be embroidering a patch of 60 by 40 millimeters. To get started on the embroidery design, we need to use P Design 10, a special program used for the embroidery machine. We will transfer our file using this card, which is inserted into a special module onto the computer. So once you open up the program, what you have to do is import your design. So you can do it in a variety of ways, from sending a normal picture to actually making the design within the program. In this particular case, I'll be using a vector image. So you can open it up in Illustrator. In Illustrator, you can save it as an SVG. You have an option and click OK, and your SVG will be saved. So afterwards, we'll open back up the Designer 10. The functionality of this program is quite diverse, so I'll go to the general settings of the program. Right away, what you can do is go to the flower up on the left corner. Go to Design Settings to select your hoop size. For our embroidery, we will be using 60 by 40 millimeters, so we have to select the size over here. Once you have your size selected, you can click OK, and your design frame will be set up. Afterwards, we go to Import Patterns, go to Import Vector Image for our SVG file, find your file, open it, and afterwards your file will come up. So once your image opens, the first thing to do is set out your size and position. You can move it all across the frame, and for my particular design, I want it to be this size. Holding Shift, you can scale your position and size, and your size will be displayed over here in the bottom left corner. To open up the stitch selection, you can right click on your image and select your stitching. So outline is here and fill stitch is here. I want my fill stitch to be a satin stitch, and I want my outline to be a simple running stitch. Color doesn't matter at this stage unless you have a complex design. One thing to keep sure is that your colors are selected differently. It doesn't matter which color you have selected as long as the colors are all different. Right now you can see that the stitching on the image is a bit weird. It's not really following the shape of the image. That is because it is set to manual direction. So all you have to do is click Auto. Now the stitches are aligned along with the shape of the image. You can further play around with your design and check out these settings over here, where you can control the undersewing, the density, and the direction of the stitch, as well as the different types of stitches you can explore. Right now my image is done, so all I have to do is save it to the card. Make sure your card is in the computer, and all you have to do is write the card. So once we have our frame, we can cut the fabric sample. My personal advice is to always test out your embroidery before using your final garment or your final sample. This will help prevent unnecessary mistakes and put in necessary changes before your final embroidery. After you prepare your piece of fabric, you must apply a stabilizer backing to it. This will prevent your stitching from shrinking the fabric and misaligning your design, especially if your fabric has the tendency to stretch. There are various different stabilizers for different fabrics, such as this iron-on over here. But for this particular design, I'd like to use an adhesive, which is a more simple version of your iron-on. One thing to watch out for is to make your stabilizer bigger than the frame to hold it in place tightly. You must apply the stabilizer to the back of the fabric. Over here. Nice and simple. Afterwards, we sandwich the frame between the hoop. Tighten the bolts. Your fabric will be well hooped if it's nice and flat, and it can make a light drum noise. That's when you know you're ready to embroider. Before we get started on the embroidery, we must first prepare the machine. So one of the first things to do is to check whether your bobbin has enough thread on it. To do that, you can open the hook cover, pull the case latch, and pull the bobbin towards you. If your bobbin is full and has enough thread, you can skip the further steps. Hold in the bobbin case, place the bobbin inside. Pull the thread through the slit over here and into this tension spring. Your bobbin must move in a clockwise direction as such. Once the thread easily rotates, cut around 5 centimeters of thread. Any day which you're using the machine, you must oil the bobbin hook before embroidering. To do so, rotate the hand wheel on the back of the machine at about 50 degrees. This will open the race of the hook for oiling. Apply only 1 drop of oil, otherwise you might contaminate the bobbin and the fabric during the embroidery. After oiling, you can snap the bobbin case in by pulling the latch and closing the hook cover. So once you're done with the first preparation, you can put the memory card on the right side of the panel and turn on the machine. Once you turn on the machine, press OK. The carriage will move after. Click the memory card icon to find your design. Select your design and press set. On this panel, you can make the last minute adjustments on the color, position, and size of the embroidery, but we can skip this over to edit end. After, press sewing. We will change the threads according to the existing numbers of the spools in the panel. In the future videos, I'll show you a more concrete way of changing the color and the spool settings. To briefly explain, I would like to switch this gold instead of the red, and this black instead of the olive green. So this gold thread will go on number 1 spool of the machine, and this black thread will go on the number 2 spool. So when it comes to threading the machine, there are 2 different ways to do so. One is the easy way and one is the harder way. The easy way is to cut the previous spool, remove it, put your new thread in, and tie them together in a knot. Once you've tied the old string and the new string in a knot together, you can take the old thread and simply pull it. In case you do not have any previous thread to use from, such as the one over here, we can always thread it ourselves. Place the spool on the specified number and follow the path numbered guides. Pass the thread through the first hole above the spool and then to the frontal guide and then to the next guide. Wrap the thread clockwise around the tension disc. Make sure the head doesn't slip through the main ridge of the disc. Continue to follow the guide up to the take-up lever. Down to the lower thread guide until the needle bar. Once you have reached the needle bar, we must thread the needle. This is done automatically by selecting the number of the thread on the panel. Press the number and the carriage will move to the needle. Then press the automatic threading button. A hook will then come out. Pull the thread through the fork from the right side to the guide. Cut the thread using the knife above and press the automatic threading button. Your needle will then be threaded. Repeat the process for the other threads. So after we threaded the needles, we can proceed to putting in our hoop to the machine. We slide the frame into the carriage. Tighten the bolts and make sure everything's set in place. Once everything is set in place, you can hit the lock button, which is over here, and this green light will appear. To start the machine, you can hit the green button. Your embroidery will then begin. Embroideries are rarely perfect for the first try. So if something goes wrong, you can press the pause button, same as the start button. Stop the machine and fix any issues. To fully stop the process in order to take out the frame, press the scissors button. This will cut the thread after stopping the embroidery. Once your embroidery is finished, you can take out the frame from the carriage and pull out the hoop. Pull out the hoop from the frame and remove the backing stabilizer. Your embroidery should then be finished. Feel free to make necessary adjustments and continue to explore different embroidery possibilities. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we also hope it encourages you to try out and explore this machine to tweak out the best design for your embroidery. See you soon here at FabLab Enschede.